And
Yeah.
wasn't there something about identifying which parties are really participating? That was flexible in the early part, but you kind of are identifying the right parties as you get closer to getting a commitment.
I think what you're saying is what we've put on the project as who's the general contractor, who's the electrical contractor. So this is a project based. So it was not really at the config level. Imagine you have a project and three different parties come to you and want to quote for that project. Okay,
Yep.
so they will all come to you because let's say you have monopole in that area. So what happened is you receive three different requests from three different parties for the same exact thing. So what we've done is, a lot of investment into the copy function. So if I want to copy the entire thing that currently has this price level, I can just copy it and pick another price level. So in this case, I wipe price level. That's the only thing that I need to input. So now let's say,
A
obviously I will
different
pick
party
this
might get a
one.
different party might get a different kind of price deal.
Exactly, yes. So now I say, okay, I want to build for this one. I save it. Now I'm copying the entire list of configs and quotes against the same project. So now the project has two different kind of configs going on at the same time. Again,
Are they
not to
related at
go in,
all? Are they kind of connected at all?
they are all connected at the project level. So the project holds
Ah,
the entire narratives. Okay.
yes. So that way, when
So
we
let
think
me
about the project, we can see all the parties that we're talking to.
Yeah, so here I have the very new one. So, obviously the syncing is still taking place
Yep.
to compute revenue and cost. Now the thing, again, not too deep, but I just want to go into this. Okay, so if I were to convert this one, which was the one we worked on, and convert it to a sales order, it means that this one, what I call the competing config, will never transform because the other party won it, right? So the entire state machine is also built that we yield all competing quotes
Right, because
because
you got to get them closed because they don't want to look open.
exactly. So we call them omitted. Yes.
Nice. Okay. So that's and then at that point you really stay at the project level and you work on all our project narratives and fulfillment at that point.
Yeah, it's like the ball is being passed from very early on the estimators and the quoters, and then they pass it to the sales team. And when the sales team then convert it to a sales order, then it goes to the project managers, and then everybody sees kind of
The evolution.
from their own perspective what's going on. Yes.
Okay.
The copy function for this client is they deal with architect. So those architect usually reuse the same items. So it's very easy for them to go find that architect in their database, pull out maybe a config that is 6 months old for a similar project, copy that sub config into a new main config, and then just update or tweak maybe one or two line item. I can copy a sub config, which is the one that has the list of items, and attach it kind of under a new project that I just created.
Yeah. So the concept, the config and the subconfig gives us elements of a tree so we can grab kind of
Mhm.
like branches as necessary
Mhm.
and attach them to other things. And it gives us the way to think in terms of groups and sets that are logically
Yes.
oriented together, which is part of the language that's going on when they're talking to the parties that are interested in the end goal.
Okay, now just want to talk briefly about this button recalc. Okay. For like all quotes, they always have an expiry date. Okay, so as I submit the quote, I now have an expiry date that got pushed right here. So for now, the default is a month out. Okay, so now on May 17th, this will be expired. A lot can happen, right? Especially in our inflationary world. So items might be inflated. So, cost goes up and so forth. When it's expired, obviously before it gets expired, even though costs went up, you honor whatever cost you put on the quote, and you convert it to a sales order. But if it's expired, then you have the ability to actually For this client, we force it. So you have to recalculate the config. Okay, so you don't have to create a whole new config. The only thing you do is you hit that recalc button.
Mhm.
It reads the entire database
Mhm.
to look up all these items
Mhm.
for the price level stated here, and it return the updated rate from the item card on
So
each line.
so if you've been maintaining your price list because of different narratives,
Mhm,
these things will refresh to get, they're holding the data, but if you recalc, you're
mhm.
basically going, I want to wipe that data.
Yep.
But does the concept of the config have a versioning going on or not really? That would be in your PDFs that you've previously transmitted.
The PDF versions, yeah. So as I generate PDFs, I store the versions.
You hold
Yeah.
them. That's great. Okay, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what has the client said in relationship to this practice around
Mm.
the estimation compared to the old way? Because they were, when we were doing the requirements and we were envisioning all this, they were only in their spreadsheets. Have they commented or anything? I mean, what have they said in your mind?
I would say like the gain in efficiency was substantial, but also the tracking all of the versions, their database is so much cleaner. So they don't end up with, it's not just 100,000 SKUs, it's like almost 1 million SKUs, but now they keep it down to like maybe 100,000. So a lot easier to maintain. Also, the ball being passed from one department to the other department was so much clearer because of RSM.